everyone. I am Sarah the Rainbow Hearted Witch. Thank you so much for coming back and supporting this channel. So this video is going to be what it's really like living in the country. So I know in the spiritual community, a lot of people are, telling people, get out of the cities, move to the country. It's really great. It's healthier. You'll get out of the matrix. You'll feel better. But you know what? Some people are just made for the city. I know that I'm one of those people. When we were looking to leave Phoenix, we were looking at the Prescott area and Prescott Valley and all of those areas, just about a little over an hour north of Phoenix. And Prescott and Prescott Valley were beautiful. However, we were totally priced out of that housing market. So we were looking all over Phoenix, and my dad's friend and old coworker, his daughter and her husband moved out here and bought property in Cochise County in a little place that I had never heard of. And so we decided to come take a look at the area, and it is stunningly beautiful. So I will do a video about all the amazing, beautiful places and nature in Cochise County. I do have to say that the nature here is beautiful. You just need to know if you're a city person or a country person or a town person. And I'm definitely not a country person. The saving grace for me is being able to drive to Tucson. And I've been back to Phoenix a few times. So, we have all of these romantic notions around living in the country. A lot of the pros are also the cons. So it's interesting, when we moved here and we've gotten settled in, we have started watching this TV show called Bless This Mess. And I remember seeing it when it first came out. Like, I never really watched it, but I think I watched like an episode, and I was like, those people are crazy. Now, for those of you who have never seen Bless This Mess, it's about a New York City couple who, they're newlyweds. They've only been married for a year. And the couple, the husband inherits a ranch, basically a farm, from his aunt. So he and his wife, decide to move. I think it's Iowa. Let me see. So the husband, his name is Mike. He decides, he's like, okay, he tells his wife, Rio, he goes, let's move. So it's about their adventures, So the first episode, you see Rio, she's telling her clients that she's leaving New York City to go to the country. Okay, so it's Nebraska, sorry, it's not Iowa, that they are going to be moving to a farm in Nebraska, and they want to become farmers. So you see the U-Haul, she, and has told all her clients goodbye, and they drive across country from New York City to Nebraska, and they get there, and the farmhouse is not what Mike remembers, or the picture that was sent to him. So the roof is falling apart. The farm needs a lot of help. They walk in and the floor goes out. So it's really funny. In this episode, we find out that Rio is terrified of cows, and a neighbor's cow comes over and scares Rio. She runs up the ladder because Mike is trying to fix the roof, and she gets stuck on the roof. It's really funny. Anyway, so the fact that the cows come and say hello, Rio was born and raised in New York City, so she sees the neighbors coming over and she's so excited. And long story short, the neighbors were not welcoming her. They basically offered Mike and Rio to buy the land, the property from them and the house so they could expand their farm. And that couple, the husband went to college for agriculture. So he, really knows how to run a farm. And so he just thinks that this couple from New York City is ridiculous for wanting to farm and that they don't realize what they're getting themselves into. So I agree with that. A lot of times we have a romantic vision of something in our mind, and it's not usually the way it is. So it's so funny, like, to see them, I'm not sure if it's the end of the first episode or in the second. Rio was like, we made a mistake. Let's go back to New York City. And basically, they can't. They're all in. And that's really how we felt too when we moved here. So the bones of this house is really good. And it needed work, but nothing as extreme as a new roof. And, we didn't fall in. So luckily, we didn't have to deal with any of that. And our neighbors, other than just ignoring us, nobody's like, get out, move. It's a quiet little community. So, that's a plus. It's just, it's funny, like, my parents are old school, and they live in a town in Vermont. And my mom's the type of neighbor, if a new neighbor comes, she's going to go introduce herself and say welcome. I know back in the day she would have brought a pie. I'm not sure if she does that anymore. But my parents go out of their way to introduce themselves. And the only neighbor we met, they are no longer our neighbors, and there's been so much drama. So that's like totally different thing. So I'm gonna, talk about the pros and the cons and all of that. The other show that we literally just started watching this week is called Shining Vale. Now, what's interesting about Shining Vale is about a family who moves from New York City 3 hours away to Connecticut, and they buy this it looks like a Victorian house. It's gorgeous, but it's really creepy. And we find out it's haunted. So why I say it's a cross is because when we moved in here, our previous owner, one of them, he had passed away last December. He was sick for quite a while, and he passed away. I'm not sure if he actually passed away in the home, but I know he was here while he was sick. And that was the main reason why his wife was selling this home to move in with her daughter. The owner, he didn't do anything scary. He would literally just like pop in and say hello. Like, the only thing that was kind of like really creepy was I would hear phantom ringing. He ran a business. He was a plumber out of the home, and the garage was his workshop. So there was still a phone out there. It wasn't even hooked up. Well, it was hooked up, but it wasn't like working. It wasn't a functioning phone. We obviously didn't have the telephone service hooked up. There was no dial tone, but I would hear it ringing. We've cleansed this place like so many times, but we still kind of, with anything, you have to continue to clean. You don't just, cleanse a house once and say that's it. I let him know that his wife no longer lives here and that she is living with their daughter. And, I told him where she was. And so we haven't really seen him. Now we have, like, I keep hearing like weird things, and we have some like weird things where I feel like we have mice. However, we've set traps. The traps go off and they break, and there's no mouse in there. And we have this sticky stuff down, no mice. So I'm not sure if we have ghost mice or not, but it's just, that's what happens when you move into a new home with a lot of history. So it's been fun, seeing Rio and Mike, really start to become a part of the community. And they get chickens, and they realize they like having chickens. Now, I would love to get some chickens. However, my husband doesn't want to deal with that. I know they're messy and they're dirty and it's a lot of work, and we do want to, travel. No chickens for us. Maybe in the future we can get chickens. So another cool kind of thing between Bless This Mess and us moving to the country is so one of the first few nights we were here, like, we're in bed and I keep hearing moo, moo, and it keeps getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm like, Nikolai, do you hear the cows? Now the cows are like 3-4 streets over. So I'm like, man, they've walked kind of a long way. And then we're down they didn't go down like a main street. They went down like kind of, there's these like back kind of like alleys, like dirt roads behind the houses. And they're not really real roads. So the cows went down there and they were standing outside our window mooing for quite a while before the rancher realized, where his cows were. We had just moved in. I didn't know who to call. I don't know whose cows they were. You don't call the police to come get cows. Like, Nikolai's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, there's cows outside. But it was fine. The rancher came and got them and led them back. It was funny. So about a week, they weren't allowed into the pasture next to the main road. They were like secluded. I'm sure it took them time to fix the broken fence, but I was just like, man, the cows are coming to say hello. So they were the ones who greeted us, the cows. And then we have a lot of quail and just a lot of birds here. So we found out that the birds of prey, there's a few sanctuaries in Phoenix, and all the sanctuaries, basically, they come out here and they release the birds of prey back into the wild here. And then we talked to a couple who they're opening a sanctuary. They have a sanctuary here, and they do the same thing. They rehabilitate the big birds and then release them. So between being just in the path of migration and then having the sanctuary, there are just so many birds. And before we had the yard cleaned out, like totally from all the overgrowth and all the trees and we kept trees up, but just not as much as what was there. The birds have really calmed down. We had a bush in front of our window that was like really, really high, and there was a dove in there with her nest. And every time I'd open the blinds in the morning, she'd be looking in. She would just be looking at me. It was so funny. But we trimmed that tree, and now a lot of the pros are also cons. And you just have to know what type of person you are. Yeah, we romanticize and we idealize like farming and living off grid or living in a van or living in the country, but you have to really think about what type of person you are. Are you claustrophobic? Can you handle a tiny home? Like, I am claustrophobic, and for a long time my dream was to own a tiny home until I realized, no, I can't live in anything less than 1,000 square feet. And that's just trial and error of living and knowing. Plus, I like books. My library would fill up a whole, like, I wouldn't be able to have my library, and I love my library. So, it's like, okay, I can't do a tiny house. And I couldn't do van life, same reason. Claustrophobia, no way, no thank you. I definitely need my own space. I need time to myself where I can read or write, create. Like, I can't be around people all the time. But by saying that, I still love the city because I like all the convenience of it, and I like all the events and all the things you can do. And even though I don't go to the mall, it's there. I can if I want to. So, you just have to know yourself. Like, just because it's being pushed or it's considered, like that's what you should do. Like, get out of the city. Um, do what you like. You can practice witchcraft and be a witch and live in the city It's so funny. If you want to know what it's really like to live in the country, or Trey Kennedy, sorry, let me see. He did a YouTube video, and I'm going to link it, and it is hilarious. Trey Kennedy did, it's called Every Small Town. He nails it. Like, we have a Dollar General that we can walk to, and we do that quite often. Sometimes that's the only time other than our walk. Well, really, we try to take a walk like every evening, which is nice. That's one of the positives. And we go to Dollar General, and they have a red box out front. Woo woo. But I must say we do have a biker bar, and I judged it harshly at first, and honestly, the food there is pretty good and the vibe wasn't bad. So the biker bar in town is a hit, and the coffee shop. The dentist here, no. The dentist really triggered me. I walked in, sat down. Well, I checked in. I was the only person there. It smelled like sewage. Okay, I wanted to leave anyway. It smelled like sewage. I sit down after checking in. Once I'm seated, the receptionist tells me that the hygienist is out for the day, but that they could still do the x-rays for the cleaning, and I could come back another time. Okay, so that ticks me off. Then somebody comes out and calls my name, and they don't introduce themselves. They don't say, "Hi, how are you? Nice meeting you." It's just, she's acting like all like harried, and there's nobody there, mind you. Nobody, okay? She's acting like she's having a bad morning and really stressed out. Okay, we've all been there. But you could at least, take a breath and be like, okay, this is a new client. She's never been here before. Let me say hello. Let me introduce myself. She doesn't do that. So she wants to start doing the x-rays. She has the thing that I'm supposed to put in my mouth, and it doesn't have any plastic over it. And I'm like, oh, don't you put plastic over it? Oh no, it's already clean. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I'm like, okay. And then it's just, with everything, she's acting like everything is so hard and so difficult, and she's huffing and puffing. She goes and sits me in the chair to do more x-rays, and she's outside cursing. So she comes in, we do like half the mouth, and we get to the other half, and she can't get it in. I hate the dentist. I hate the stupid stuff in your mouth, and I just hate it. And I was like, okay, so I broke my tooth on the right side. I was like, can we just do that, since this side it's just not working? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I'll still pay you for all the x-rays, but can we just stick with the half, because that's what I'm here for, really. No, I have to do all of it. And I just said, okay, well, if you have to do all of it, I don't think that I need to be here. Clearly, you're having a bad day, and I'm just not feeling this. So I got up and left. I walked out. when a place smells like sewage and you're in a dentist office, like that's, I'm already questioning, like, I know you don't have control, but like maybe have your septic tank pumped. There's nobody there. They got great reviews on Google. Yeah, you can get great reviews for convenience, but no thanks. I'll drive an hour and a half to the dentist. I'm not gonna go somewhere where I'm not appreciated as a customer or a client. That's just, so for me, like moving here, adjusting to the lack of customer service, we went to the library. We drove 30 minutes to the library, and I had a feeling, I told my husband, I'm like, we're leaving kind of late. Just because it says they're open till 5 doesn't mean they're going to be open till 5. And lo and behold, we get there at 4:50 and it's closed. And I'm like, see. And so, yeah, so this story was told to me by another business owner who, they run an amazing business, give great customer service. The quality is wonderful. So I was just discussing, how a lot of businesses aren't open when they say they're going to be open or the days that they're supposed to be open. And I understand that we're still in that era of, people being out sick. So, if it's a small business, if they don't have any workers, then the workers that are there are more stressed out. And I totally understand that, because the office where I worked out for the last 2 years, I worked there for 3 years, but in the last 2 years that all this was happening, I understand the level of stress that increases. I was appalled. So anyway, I think he went to a government office to get his business license or whatever. And he showed up an hour and a half before they closed. And he was told by the government employee that they'd already closed down their computer and they couldn't help him after he drove the hour. And that he would have to come back tomorrow. Now, I was already ticked off enough about the library. Like, I won't go to that library again. I gave them a 1-star review, just like the dentist. I didn't give them even a review, because I just walked out. That was my review. Don't expect really good quality service. Call ahead. You always want to call ahead. Because just because it says they're open, so like the coffee shop that I really love that we can walk to in town, they were just closed down for like 3 weeks, and then they put it on Google that they were like temporarily closed, but it wasn't on Apple. And so like we just would drive by, occasionally to see if it's open, but that's no big deal. But we went to like a pizza place in Benson and the sign was up still, so we're like, oh, hopeful. On Google Maps it said permanently closed. Well, we drove by and we stopped and read the notice on the door that said they were closed. They were going to be closed from July 3rd through July 20th. So I mean, I'm happy the pizza place is still open. It's not permanently closed, because honestly it's like my favorite pizza place in Arizona. So I'm so happy that they're still around. So like, I don't mind that, but it's just the whole, okay, we're going to be open Thursday through Monday, 8 to 2, and you get there at 1 and they're closed. Or you get there on a Sunday and it's closed. And so I'm sure that that's just life right now. And since this is such a small town, and they're small businesses, it's nothing's corporate here, which is nice, other than Dollar General, of course. That, if one person calls out, they might have to close down. So I understand that. The pros are it's quiet, there's not a lot of people, there's a lot of wild animals and birds, and we can walk every night. We don't have to worry. Look at that huge owl. Like in Phoenix, it's really scary to walk, even if you're walking in like a what you think is a quiet neighborhood. Somebody will probably be coming down the street at like 60 miles an hour. Here you can walk right down the middle of the street. You get to save money on impulse spending because really there's nowhere to go to spend your money. So you save money by not going out to eat or going to like Starbucks or, you know, any of the other coffee chains. We cook at home most of the time. So, you know, we're getting healthier. I'm cooking a lot more, making meals. So it's helped me with losing weight, which is nice. There's no distractions. Of course, you have more personal space. We have a yard, a front yard and a backyard, and we have a, you know, a porch. It's really nice. So, if working from home, it's nice to have all of those options. It's cooler here by about 15 degrees, and it rains almost every day, which is really nice. The skies here are beautiful. The sunsets, I thought they were gorgeous in Phoenix, but they're really beautiful here. You can see the stars at night. And there is more time to focus on personal development, personal health. I will say it's really nice living in the country because I don't wear a bra. I hate wearing bras. So it's wonderful not to have to wear a bra. And it's wonderful to not have to shower every day. And it's wonderful to not have to. So today, for this video, I was going to film earlier. And I had my makeup and my eye makeup looked perfect. And what do I decide to do? I'm like, I've had fake eyelashes for years. And I'm like, I've never tried them. I've never put them on. Let me try it. Bad idea. I messed up my eye makeup so bad. So bad. They were pretty easy because I got the magnetic ones. So it wasn't too bad. But tell me why I'm like, I'm out of practice. Like I haven't worn makeup. I don't wear makeup when I'm here. I mean, I didn't really wear makeup when I lived in Phoenix either, but there are times I would just put it on. But I'm not the type of person who's like, oh my goodness, I can't leave my house without makeup. Nah. I grew up that way. Of just not wearing makeup. Like in middle school, I started wearing eyeliner. Remember the white eyeliner? I would just wear white eyeliner or navy blue. And then in high school, I would wear eyeliner and mascara. And that's it. And then in college, it was eyeshadow and mascara and lipstick. But I didn't really wear foundation. It wasn't really my thing. I don't like stuff on my face, and I was just gonna sweat it off anyway. The cons are a lot of the same pros. You know, it's quiet. There are a lot of wild animals. We can hear the coyotes howling. Like sometimes we'll be walking and we kind of walk around the community, and so like we'll be on the outskirts close to the mountains, and you hear the coyotes, and I'm like, okay, like we need to get home. There's no DoorDash or Lyft, so nothing is convenient. We had to plan for groceries. Like if we're gonna go run an errand, we like write a list of the places we need to go and what we need to get, because we go to Walmart and it's 40 minutes away. And I can tell you that it gets really tiring having to go like drive that far at least once a week just to get groceries, just to do errands. I've decided that I don't mind driving the hour to Sierra Vista. That's the largest city in Cochise County. They have a mall there, and they have a movie theater, and they have good restaurants, and they have selection, and it's like a mini Phoenix, and it's interesting because it's in the middle of nowhere, and there's really nothing there. There used to be a military base there, and I'm pretty sure it closed down, but there's a lot of military people who live there. Okay, so the cons, like what I was mentioning earlier, is that nothing is open every day. Hours here, most places, is Thursday through Sunday. And I get it. This little community is in the middle of nowhere, and it really runs on tourism only and like the birding. People come here to bird watch, all of that stuff. So it doesn't make sense for these restaurants or businesses to be open every day. They'd lose money. I think the only businesses that are open every day consistently are Dollar General and TJ's Bar and Grill. And that's the biker bar, and it's pretty good. Now, living in a small town, we live amongst people who are, most of the people here are retired, and they're pretty antisocial. We've met some people who are nice, like, I think there's a lot of like Mennonite, and there's a lot of Mormons who live here. So I'm always like kind of nervous that I'm going to offend or scare them, because sometimes I wear Magic Happens Here, and then it says Salem. Like, I bought that t-shirt in Salem, and I have a lot of witchy clothes that I just put on and wear and don't think about, and then I'm like, ooh, like out walking, and I'm afraid I'm gonna offend somebody. So that triggers me. Since I grew up in a small town and left for a reason, I thought that living in a small town, as long as it wasn't around the people I grew up with, that it would be okay. And it's interesting because I didn't really have a bad childhood or a really bad experience with like bullies or, the mean girls or anything. I just didn't like how everybody knew my business, and you knew everybody's business, and that everybody talks and everybody judges you, and I didn't like that. I don't like that. And that's probably why I didn't want to be on YouTube. And I know I have a friend who's like, I hate YouTube, and it's like, yeah, like, because it's vulnerable to put yourself out there and to allow people to judge you. Because I get that, like, growing up in a small town, it's in your face. Like, what your reputation is, how people feel about you, how you're viewed. Most people are hypocrites. Most people's dirty secrets. It's a double-edged sword. It's good because like who to stay away from, like business-wise and things like that. But at the same time, a lot of people get like a bad rap for no reason. And or even, it doesn't even have to be a bad rap. I didn't have a bad rap. I had a good rap. I was a nerd. I was voted most likely to succeed, but that's a lot of pressure, and that's almost just as bad as having a bad reputation and then getting to prove them wrong, right? You have all this pressure, like, I have to go, to law school. I have to become an attorney. I have to, I remember when I moved back home after living in LA, and nobody ever wanted to hire me in Vermont. Like, even though I had a college education, I always just got like retail jobs or food industry jobs. So I was working as a lunch lady, which there's nothing wrong with that. And my old history teacher was substituting at the school, and he saw me, and he's like, what the hell happened to you? And I'm like, nothing. What do you mean? And he's just like, well, like, why are you, and that's such a like old school way of thinking, that you're not successful if you're a lunch lady. Like, doesn't matter. I mean, people take jobs that they can get, right? So you have to work. You shouldn't judge. Like, I know a lot of people like to think that if you're a waitress or a waiter or in the food industry that you don't have a degree, but there's a lot of people working in the food industry that have degrees, that have gone to college. Just remember that you shouldn't be like, oh, well, they're just ignorant or they're just dumb. No, probably not. There's a lot of dust and a lot of bugs and a lot of dirt. And it seems like we're always sweeping or dusting. And there's bugs, like, because we've sprayed and we spray often. It's not so bad, but man, the first time we sprayed, it was crazy. I don't think that the people who lived here before sprayed. It's dark, like it's really dark at night. So yeah, it's great for stargazing, but it's a little creepy driving at night here. Everything is far away. So we had looked at a off-the-grid tiny home to live in up in St. John's, and it was on a total dirt road that was like, it was pretty rough. And it was way out in the middle of nowhere. Our closest neighbor would have been the electric company or the power company. I'm not sure. It was like the power company, and cows. Literally, we drove through like a cow pasture to get to the home. And it would have been an hour and a half just to town, and then another like hour and a half to like the bigger. So I'm so glad we didn't move there. Oh my goodness. So it gets lonely. We're lucky we go to Tucson. Like, I found a really great place, new age store that has free classes. We've gone twice to their tarot event. It's wonderful. I'm gonna do a video coming up about all the like really cool places to go to in the area, because there's always positives and negatives. It's just, what can you handle? And I don't really feel comfortable in small town living, because usually the people who live here stereotypically are a certain set of people, and I don't have any problem with that subset of people. Obviously, I mean, I was raised Christian and confirmed Catholic, and I'm open to understanding and learning all religions, whether it be Christian and Jewish, or about Islam, or whatever, Hinduism. Like, I love studying religions, so that's not the problem. The problem is people not understanding energy work, or understanding, that witchcraft isn't evil, and that it doesn't mean that I'm a Satanist or a Luciferian. Like, I'm not. So it's just interesting how my I'm working on my own triggers, because I know I have triggers from growing up in a small community, and just being like super bored. Like, I remember being a child on the swing sets outside and just swinging by myself and just being like, I can't wait to get out of this town. It is so boring. I always loved our trips to New York City, especially at Christmas time, to go see the Rockettes and to see Rockefeller Center. And it was amazing to get to go to college in DC and be in the center of the political universe of the United States. It was awesome. It was such a great experience, and I'm so glad I was able to go. And I'm just happy that I got to experience living in LA. It was too much. Just like DC was too much. That's when I decided that I wanted nothing to do with politics. Up until that point, it was pretty political, and I was still pretty politically active through college. I just realized I didn't like how dogmatic people were. It's just like religion. Politics is like the new religion, and it's like we should really be able to communicate and talk and see other ideas. I just don't like the polarization, because in my mind, it doesn't matter what party. They're both bad, and both parties lie, and both parties are corrupt, and both parties make promises. I know that a lot of fear mongering went into the last election to vote a certain way, so what happened recently wouldn't happen. But look, it still happened. And that's pretty infuriating that we were told, well, if you vote this certain way, then women's rights are safe. And then to have the worst case scenario happen on top of everything else, all the other promises, like that student debt would be eradicated, and that hasn't happened. It's just like, you know, how many times do you want to make promises that you can't keep, and have inflation, and have all of this just crazy, you know what, like people just want to live and just live their life and just be comfortable. Like, stop dangling the carrot in front of our noses, and stop, you know, being like, well, if you do this, you'll have a great life, or if you do that, you'll have a great life. And it's just like, stop. So anyway, living in the country is nice for the fact that, but I don't know if it really has to do with living in the country, or if it just has to do with not working, because I don't have to hear what's going on politically. I mean, I know the big events, right? Like, I still know what I need to know. I'm still like tapped in, but not to the extent that I'd be if I was working. And it's really nice. Like, I like the freedom. That's why I wouldn't really want to move back to the East Coast, because the level of restrictions and rules and regulations, and I just feel like living is a lot more complicated on the East Coast, or where there's a lot of taxes and a lot of rules and a lot of regulations, and it's like, for what, right? And then it's like, you move out here. Moving to Phoenix was like what I expected moving to LA would be like. I just felt like so free in my soul. Like, in LA, I felt this creativity. It has like this amazing creative energy, just like New York City. But it was just too crazy. I couldn't handle it. You have to be willing to conform to a lot of roles and situations that are just not in line with my moral compass. So I just couldn't do it. Like, I just don't want to wear makeup every day, and I don't want to have to like get plastic surgery. And it was like, when I lived in LA, everywhere you look, plastic surgery was being, you know, shoved down your throat. So like, I understand why a lot of people in LA do what they do, whether they're famous or not. It's because everyone does there, and it's just, to me, that's really sad. But I was just raised with a different set of values that I know some people look at and say that it's really simple. Like, I don't consider myself a simple person, but yes, I mean, when you're raised as a Christian, like, yeah, even if you work through a lot of things, there's still like ideas planted, right? I was gonna talk a little bit about this book, but I'm gonna do an in-depth video later on, so that will be another video. I will say, So we went to a art show that popped up, I think it was in March. It was like before we moved in full time, and I read this book. And it's a great read. I had my husband read it, and then I had my mom read it. And but I'm gonna just say it made me really paranoid living here, and it really didn't help my mental health. But I'll do a book review. It's a great book. It's a fast read, and they're local authors, so I love that. So I'm going to do a book review, and I still want to connect with Miss Lori LaBelle to do an interview with her, and I met a new woman at the tarot like meetup last night, and her name's Donna, and I would love to interview her. So hopefully those things are coming. And I think there was one other, let me see. I had a list of what videos I needed to make. Let me see if I have it written down. I'm definitely going to do like the places you need to check out if you come here. And then, so yeah. This is the video about what it's like really like, even though on my notes I said video about moving and living in the country. Same thing. And then I'm going to do a video on Karuna Reiki, what it is, and then comparing the book to the class. So those are the videos. And then, of course, the tarot flip-throughs are coming up. I have some more cards and decks I'm going to be going over. So thank you so much. I hope you all made it to the end. I know it was a little choppy there, but thank you so much for watching until the end. I have linked my Venmo down below. No pressure. I understand like times are tight, but this is my full-time job now. So if you would like to contribute so that I can keep making videos, that will be linked down below, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you. The likes, the subscribes, the watching, like I appreciate it so much. I was going through and removing, I had tried doing just affiliate links to Amazon, and that didn't work out. So I had to go through all my videos and take the affiliate links out. And I decided to try the Venmo. So the links are in most of the older videos already, and it will be down below as well going forward. So thank you so much, guys. Hey everyone, so this is a add-on. I filmed the video last week. Today is Monday, July 18th. And I remembered a few more pros and cons. So we will start with the pros. I love the fact that we can get local produce, fruits and vegetables, eggs from local farmers. So that is definitely a plus. We found this really great place. It says Nest Run Eggs from Goshen Farms. They live like right down the road. And so these are free range eggs. This is what free range eggs look like. So they haven't been washed off. So you can leave them out. You don't have to refrigerate them. You just wash them before you use them, and then you can cook them. So they last up to 2 months without being refrigerated. I love that. The woman who runs this farm is amazing. She's like one of the nicest people we've met here. Love her. Like, the farm is immaculate. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the chickens, like we've met the chickens, Sapphire and Pearl, were two chickens that really stood out to me. They were so pretty. And another tie-in to Rio and Mike on Bless This Mess. I was joking about how her chickens looked as pampered as theirs. And I was telling her how Rio on the show would like massage the chickens. And she's like, yeah, her son like really gets along with the chickens. So he's in there, and you know, they're like pets, even though they provide us this yummy food. Okay, so those are the pros. It's way cheaper to go to the farm directly. Oh my gosh, co-op prices are insane, just as like farmers markets. I don't know who can afford that. I wish we could. Anyway, that's another topic. And then cons are, I hope you really like country music if you move to the country. On the I-10 East, we can pick up a few stations, but once we get off the I-10 and the further we head southeast, we get one radio station. And I think in the house, I don't know if we get that one. I don't want to try because it's country, and that's just not I'm not a country fan. Unless it's Casey Musgroves, then I'm cool. But other than that, no. And then we have wildfires here. So we were warned from people in Sierra Vista that we need to have a bug out bag. You never know when a fire is going to happen with a few days worth of clothes. So we didn't think about that before we left the city. We were, clueless. Luckily, there were fires around us, but nothing close to us, like really close. So that's good. So those are a few more pros and cons. Also, today we went to Benson for our weekly grocery shopping. And so I'm just going to show you this. So we went, and this is another pro. So in Phoenix, you can only get froyo, but in Benson, we can go to the old Benson ice cream stop, and it's amazing. I love the ice cream there. So I'm going to be adding photos to the this video, and I just wanted to show you. So today's Monday, like I told you, and we were there around noon. So this is one of the stores, and this is like what I was going with, is that it was Monday between 9 to 5, and look, they're closed. So yeah, so that will be in there. But it's wonderful to be able to get soft serve ice cream, because one of the things that I really miss about Vermont is maple creamies. So I also really like blackberry creamies with chocolate dip, like the hard shell. So good. I don't think they have those flavors. Well, they do, but it's like the add-on, and I don't like that. I want like the really creamy, not just flavor, but like, I don't know, I can't explain it. For you out there who've had creamies from Vermont, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm like so happy that I don't have to just eat froyo, which I love froyo, don't get me wrong. It's like a nice treat to add the fruits and all that fun stuff. But there's nothing like a soft serve ice cream. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed this add-on, and bye. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below, and please subscribe. I will be uploading videos every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Arizona time. Bye, guys.